But we start here today. J.D. Vance will be on the main stage tonight for all the world to see, and I'm telling you, he is ready for prime time. Donald Trump's decision to choose Vance, more than just out-of-the-box thinking in too many ways to count. 3 words describe this choice: energy, authenticity, and history. Let's start with job 1 for a running mate. And that is asking what this new ticket brings to the grueling national campaign ahead. Energy. Energy, one thing you can say without hesitation. Trump has always been a firebrand, obviously, and now he has an equally energetic and sharp running mate. Vance can be like a barracuda attacking liberal myths, the news media, and so much more. Just use Google or Bing and watch his TV interviews on the national news media. He's not shy. He does not back down. He's smarter than all the people that interview him every single time. And he brings that energy with a lot of brains, too. There is no good cop, bad cop option here for the Democrats. As far as the left is concerned, Trump and Vance are a 1-2 punch from hell. Of course, this running mate decision has to be judged much differently than usual in light of Saturday's assassination attempt against the former president. Not to sound too crass about it, but Vance is now providing Trump with a degree of, well, assassination insurance, if you will. And by that, I only mean this. The forces who hate Trump must now consider that J.D. Vance is just as opposed to the political class in the swamp as Donald Trump is. He's dedicated to dismantling the administrative state, defying globalist agendas, and putting America first every time. But even more than that, Vance is younger and brings his connection to a younger generation to the table. He is just 39. That would be the same younger generation that the left and the Democrats have considered their property forever. That youthful energy Vance brings to his ferocious opposition to the D.C. bureaucracy should make a lot of the people who have betrayed this country for decades very nervous. Beyond the strong energy Vance brings to this mix, there's another even more rare quality in politics at play with this choice. One word defines that as well, and that word is authenticity. He's the real deal, you see. Not some politician selling a story because his is genuine. Vance has a personal story that any politician would die for. It's the kind of biography that sounds like a rags to riches success story because, quite simply, it is. He was mostly raised by his grandparents because his mother was a drug addict. And it's true. His grandmother often had to beg, borrow, and steal with the Meals on Wheels folks, haggle, so they could get enough food so she and the kids could both eat. It's not some whipped-up baloney. It's not something put together for a campaign bio. That's authenticity defined. It's all documented in a key part of Vance's best-selling 2016 memoir about growing up in rural Middletown, Ohio. The book, as you probably know, is called Hillbilly Elegy. It touched a chord nationwide. It describes a forgotten America far from the big cities where opioid and fentanyl has destroyed too many lives to count. And that's what makes Vance's story all the more uplifting. Sure, every politician tries to pull off that rags to riches story. Usually, however, they just lie. But in Vance's case, it's true, it's authentic. He really is an outsider. Today, like I said, he's 39 years old, a man who's made it in America against all the odds. So let's review. Vance truly grew up poor. Vance truly served his country in the Marines in the Gulf War. Thinking about this, it makes him the first veteran to appear anywhere on either party's presidential ticket since John McCain back in 2008, 16 years ago. Vance truly was a standout student at Ohio State, finished first in Yale Law School. He truly has served very well. Those smarts have served him well as well in the business world as well as in the political arena. Sure, we have Republican geniuses like Ted Cruz. Now, he's a master of rhetorical comments and a legal scholar, but Vance's much more diverse intelligence is truly on a different level. Vance truly became a wealthy man in the private sector as a venture capitalist, and he also found time to write a groundbreaking, eloquent book. It's like J.D. Vance was created by a machine programmed to make someone exactly not like Joe Biden, not like Kamala Harris. In fact, J.D. Vance's resume looks an awful lot like half the things Joe Biden has lied about doing for years. Now, that's especially true when we think about Biden claiming to be a great student and making money on his own merits, none of which is true. To be clear, Joe Biden was at best a C student, finishing in the bottom few students, 75th out of 86 kids in his class. He's a rich man because people paid him for political access and favors, period. Not because he did something great. Meanwhile, Vance's authentic personal story stands in great contrast, not just to Joe Biden's, but just about every politician I can think of. Now, you just sit here and go, who does he compare to? Who's he compared to? Now comes the ugly part of the deal for Vance, and you knew it was coming. So we'll have to deal with the establishment politicians and its allies in the regime media hitting him with what they call Oppo research. That's the term, of course, for all the negative and twisted stuff one party digs up and uses against opposing candidates. Most of the time, it's just that information that's twisted to seem bad, quotes taken out of context, and a lot of innuendo. Expect a lot of that by the truckload. So here are the major pieces of Oppo research we're going to be hearing against J.D. Vance and already are. First off, here we go. Abortion, abortion, abortion. The Democrats are going to try to portray Vance as positively medieval about abortion, claiming he opposes the procedure even in cases of rape and incest. And he's long been in line with the Republican Party's more recent and mainstream approach to abortion. Even more recently, he sided with President Trump's position that supports leaving the matter to the states. Of course, for the Democrats, a person can never be pro-abortion enough, so that leaves Vance on the outs. So Vance is probably smart enough not to be baited into explaining his thoughts on that issue any further. The second big Oppo research line of attack is that Vance is a 1930s-style isolationist, a slave to Vladimir Putin, and wants Ukrainians to be wiped off the map. Of course, that's not true either, but maybe a year or two ago, that line of attack would have worked. But more and more Americans know it's not isolationist to be like Vance and ask, where is all this money going? Why are we sending billions of dollars to Ukraine? More and more of us are just like J.D. Vance. I have been for a while. Baffled by the fact that an early peace deal was brokered by Israel, not supported by the Biden administration. Early peace deal was brokered in Ukraine and Russia, ignored and rejected by the Biden administration. Both places. Now hundreds of thousands more people are dead. Ukraine can't get as good a deal as they could have had then, that's for sure. And speaking of Israel, some of the scaremongers attacking Vance are also trying to make an insane argument that because he's an isolationist, Vance would eventually sell out Israel. And that's just the beginning. Of course, none of that's true. For America and the world that do not know J.D. Vance, they'll meet him tonight here on the main stage in Milwaukee. We'll be there. Of course, we'll bring you all the information tomorrow. I've got more to say about J.D. Vance. A decision by Donald Trump. And by the way, the rumored replacement for the state of Ohio for U.S. Senate seat, Vivek Ramaswamy, also of Ohio, apparently gearing up to run for that seat when J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are elected to office on November the 5th. We'll talk about that coming up on the Steve Gruber Show.